Hello and welcome to Veddiinspires, and today I want to share with you two mindset technique at least. They're more of a strategy, but also more of a mindset in terms to dealing with anxiety and depression and getting it in your mind in a way for you to live a more balanced life. The number one thing that I wanted to discuss is direction. So direction is more important than destination. It's also more important than speed. So where you are going is much more important than how fast you get there or even what you're getting to. Because there's no food that is so satisfying that you won't need another food. There is no water that is so thirst quenching that you won't need another water. So it's the importance of understanding that the process of what you're going through is more important than how fast you get there and even getting there. Because once you get there, you're going to need another goal. But that's a whole different topic. The point that I'm trying to make here is the importance of process. Trying to do too much too soon, especially when we become aware of our inadequacies, often leads to feeling overwhelmed and stressed. And it creates this situation called autocatalytic, I think. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it right. But it's the idea that bad habits can reinforce the exact behavior they're trying to stop. For example, when you are eating junk food, it's because you're stressed sometimes. And feeling stressed makes you to eat junk food. Eating junk food, it's because you're stressed. Same thing with feeling sluggish. You're feeling sluggish, you're watching the TV because you're feeling sluggish. Each is reinforcing the other. So the idea that I'm trying to express here is starting small. And as Jim Rohn said, you cannot change destination overnight, but you can change direction overnight. So it's like an airplane leaving for LAX to New York. If you change 3.5 degrees midair of that plane and go steadily towards that direction, you end up in Washington, D.C. And by the way, the distance between Washington, D.C. and New York is 225 miles. 225 miles. Now imagine that. A small change of 3.5 degrees resulting to a 225-mile difference consistently followed. That's the power of small progress. That's the power of starting small and doing something consistently till you find out the outcome. Now, if you're feeling depressed, the goal is not to feel less depressed or even to stop making bad decisions that are leading you towards that depressive direction. The goal is to find out specifically what you want to do. How would you know when you're feeling less depressed? What does that look like? How do you measure it? Second thing is that when you stop feeling depressed, you are running away from something. Now it's to run towards something. Now, who are you trying to become? What are you trying to begin? What would you do instead when you're not depressed? Because the goal is not only to run away from depression and anxiety, the goal is to run towards something, meaning, purpose, ideas, work. What does that look like? Describe it in detail who you want to become, which leads to the second part of these two mindset shift. Second is environment. Environment probably is the greatest resource and also a deterrence towards a specific direction of a new identity you're trying to create. Because the people you hang around with plays a more important role in how your life turns out than the individual decisions you're making. Now, if you're trying to quit drinking alcoholic and start eating healthy, it's important to take an audit of the environment you are in that is reinforcing that behavior. Who do you hang around with? If you define being sociable as hanging around people and drinking, then it'll be hard for you to quit because the people you're hanging around with will be reinforcing that behavior, even though you've made an internal decision to stop drinking and start eating healthy. So that's important. And then you have to face the reality of understanding the dead wood of your previous environment. And you have to make an adult decision of deciding to stay in an environment that will reinforce the behavior you are trying to get out of, or find a new environment that will reinforce the behaviors you're trying to engage in. Because the internal decision is the first process. The external environment is the sustainable of that internal decision. So you have to make that decision and decide the environment you want to be in. Because there's a reason that when people come out of prison, they're often told not to hang around with the same people that they used to hang around with. That's because environment is major. When you're trying to keep straight and narrow, your buddies are like kryptonite. Your friends are like your Moby Dick. And then at the workplace, it's called the spillover effect. The fact that when you are in a vicinity of someone who is being productive, your productive increase by 10-15% by some studies. But consequentially, when you are around a slacker, the opposite effect happens. And that's because environment is major. And it's often important to take an audit of your environment. And why a change is often inner directed at first, it is outward dictated for the long run. Because you make an internal decision to change, and then your environment dictates the sustainability of this internal resolve. And sometimes we develop connections with environment. For example, one person, his couch might be a place that he reads. For another person, the couch might be a place that he comes home and eat ice cream and watch TV all day. These specific cues are environments when we're trying to engage in unwinding the anxious and depressive pattern. Because these feelings didn't just come from anywhere. They are reinforced by what we listen to, what we watch, the people we hang around with, the behaviors we engage in or lack thereof. All of these things reinforces how we feel and reinforces what we do, and both keep reinforcing each other. And the key to change this, first the internal decision to change, and then the outward decision to move around your environment and find out the things that are facilitating your feelings. Because when you're listening to a specific music and you feel validated by that music, and it's a sad music and it makes you, it's like someone understands you and you feel company with that music, you're facilitating that depressive process. And the key is to change what you're doing, to change how you're feeling. And then the two will start to reinforce each other. And it's dictating that habitual pattern that you're engaging in, because there is something that you're doing. Whenever you're feeling sad, think about what makes you feel sad. You will always trace it down to a specific action that you either saw or engaged in, or you are within the vicinity of people who engage in those certain behaviors. And then you can start to understand how you can then recalibrate this environment to facilitate a better mental well-being. And then it's the reinforcement of these two ideas. Reinforcement of understanding that you have to start small, or you don't have to start small, but the more productive, more effective ways to start small. And the small increments of daily drops of water makes an ocean of a new habit. Because habit is a double-edged sword. Good ones makes time your ally. Bad ones makes time your enemy. Good ones makes you dangerous. Bad one puts you in danger. So it's an interesting mix of knowing how to set your sail. Because it's not the blowing of the wind that determines your life direction. It's the set of the sail. When you are in a rudderless ship, you could arrive at any port of call. Or when you have a rudder and you are directing yourself towards the port of call, and though you might not see your destination 99% of the time, you have faith and you believe that it's there because other people have attained the same purpose, and if you keep on keeping on, you can get to that destination, and then you can set out again with a new goal and a new port of call to head towards to. But the two mindset shift in dealing with that anxiety and depression: one, starting small and then increasing, understanding that it's a building block. When you start a house, the whole brick lies apart and you think about the whole work you have to do. But small, little by little, each block, each building block stacks on top of each other. And remember, you're building a skyscraper, not a chicken coop. So it builds slowly but consistently. And then understand the idea of shifting your environment to match the new identity you're trying to engage in, which is not only stopping depression, but engaging in meaningful, purposeful work or productive activity that will start to help you feel not only better, but fulfilled, satisfied with the fact that your life is worth something. And if you're looking for more specific strategies, tools, and ideas, leave a comment in this video and one of my team members will reach out to you. But of course, until then, thanks for watching, be great, and subscribe for more to stay inspired.